Hello and welcome to Not Without My Sister, where today I, Rosemary McCabe, am joined by my sister, Beatrice McCabe, without whom I am never. Does that make sense grammatically? I'm never without her. Yeah, it does make sense. I don't know why you're rolling your eyes. That was perfectly accurate. Today we're going to talk about the myriad times in our lives that we have attempted to give things up.
Sorry, have given things up.
The few times in my life that I've successfully given things up, and the many times in Beatrice's life that she has successfully given things up, and then all the times in between where I've tried and failed. So will I start with like the biggest thing I've ever given up? Like the biggest and probably only thing I've ever given up successfully, smoking.
Okay. Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Successful?
I'm like Mark Twain.
But is it successful?
I'm
Who knows?
excellent at giving up smoking. I've done it several times.
Do you still have a craving for a cigarette?
No, actually, like occasionally if I'm watching something on TV, like when I used to watch Mad Men, I think I was in a quitting phase while I was watching Mad Men. And I used to find that very tempting that I'd be like, oh, I'd love to go to a party. I mean, who am I? I hate going to parties. I'd love to go to a party and smoke a cigarette, right? And then there are other, if you're watching a movie where it's set in the 50s or 60s and they're all smoking. And it's not even that I think they make it look glam. I'm just like, oh, I'd love that. And then I remember anytime I have quit and then a couple of months later started again, you really have to fight to get back into it. Like,
what?
Oh my God, it's really hard to start smoking again because it's disgusting when you first start.
Excuse me. Why would you fight to get back into something disgusting?
I don't know, because you're like, I don't know, because it's not even a craving anymore. I was going to say you're craving it. You're not craving it. Like you just remember. They do say that actually, though inhaling nicotine increases your heart rate, there's kind of a false sense of relaxation because you're breathing much slower when you're inhaling a cigarette. So you trick yourself into thinking that it's relaxing because you're doing this slow breathing, you know what I mean? But like when Stephen and I broke up, I remember, I think it was the very day. So we broke up basically on a Friday morning. And he went to work and I immediately went to Spar and bought myself 40 Marlboro Lights.
I thought you were going to say I went and bought myself a pecan plat and a lunch sambo, a breakfast roll.
Chicken roll. Never breakfast roll. Ugh. Chicken roll. Hot chicken roll. No, I went and bought myself 40 Marlboro Menthol and then sat in my back garden crying, smoking for the entire day.
I was about to say Friday morning wasn't really it just guaranteed you like a weekend of tears.
It was miserable, but it was because he had come home on the Thursday night and I'd wanted to break up with him, but he was like very drunk and fell asleep immediately. So I stayed awake, like rocking back and forth, like eyes open, waiting for him to wake up. And then eventually at about 6:30 a.m. I was like, wake up!
Wishing you had a cigarette in your hand to pass the time. What made you start smoking in the first place?
I think I started smoking in France when I was on that holiday with Claire, when we used to sneak out of our tents in the middle of the night when Mum and Dad thought we were fast asleep, and we'd go up to, there was like a kind of an open area behind the gym or behind the common area where you'd go and you'd smoke and drink those little French beers with like all the hot teenagers.
I mean, that's a good reason, in fairness.
Quote unquote hot.
I mean, I'm sure they were hot.
Sure,
they were French.
Were hot. Well, no,
they were probably all smoking.
They were from everywhere. Yeah, they were all smoking.
Yeah. All the Frenchies were smoking.
Yeah, and all the Germans were smoking as well.
Do you remember when
the Danes weren't so into smoking? Very healthy.
God, this was a very cosmopolitan group of smokers.
Le Grand Métairie in France.
Oh. Do you remember when the smoking ban was introduced? Were you smoking then?
I was actually, and I started to smoke even more then because I found it a great way to meet men in the smoking area. Because it was also quieter. Because like you'd go out to the smoking area and the music wasn't as loud, and you could also be like, "Sorry, if you get a lighter,"
and they could hear your wit. They could, because say your banter was lost.
God, maybe that's why I never had that much success in the smoking area. I was much more successful inside in the booming music.
Where they were like, "What? Just get over here." Yeah,
exactly.
Get me knee.
What's she saying? Oh, it doesn't matter. She looks easy.
Oh my God.
Whereas in the smoking area, like this one goes on.
That's not the way men think. Men want intellect. They want to be challenged.
What men?
All men. # all men want to be challenged by an intellectual, sprightly, good debater. Men
want to be challenged by a good debater.
I'm going to make a t-shirt called "Please Debate Me" for men. It's going to be a man's
t-shirt. You don't need to make that t-shirt. A woman's face says that message to a man. Please debate me. Whatever I say, debate me. You know better.
What? You know better. The T-shirt's not going to say
No,
that.
I'm saying that's what a woman's face says to a man.
Oh, that's not the kind of debate I'm talking about. I know better is what the T-shirt should say.
Well, then it shouldn't say...
Oh, no, for a man. The T-shirt's
What?
for the man.
Oh, the T-shirt's for the man?
Yeah.
Oh, and it says, please debate me.
Yeah.
But only if you're like someone I'm interested in.
No, just please debate me because that's what men love. They love debate. They love to chat. They love to
don't.
They love
just
to
love
banter.
to tell you the answer
They love to
a
squire
question
back
you never
and forth
asked.
and bicker. They love to be... They're open.
Would you?
They're open to all kinds of conversation.
You easily know now that you only talk to one man.
Listen to
and
me.
he's bound to you by law.
And a fantastic debater, extremely open-minded and loves to listen to what I have to say, as we just proved earlier on when he just talked all over me.
You love that though, obviously. Oh, so you could actually wear the Please Debate Me t-shirt because you do love that.
I would like to say that it has been pointed out to me that our podcast is not necessarily fully embracing of men.
Pointed out to you by whom? A man?
By a woman. So we should be careful because we don't want to come across as like hating men. We love men. Hashtag not all men, but we love most of them. Yes, you do. You were yesterday. No matter what Brandon said, you were like lapping it up.
I love Brandon. Lap, lap, lap. No, my point, my thinking there was, do I care if I come across as someone who hates men? Not so much.
Yes, you do. You know what? Quite honestly, I watched a hideous video. I was reminiscing in my mind, not with anybody, just by myself, about the music I used to listen to when I lived in Kilkenny, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know, there's a soundtrack to various aspects of your life. Like Khalees was one moment in Kilkenny where I had a breakup, I think I mentioned this, and listened to I Hate You So Much Right Now on repeat at full volume, sobbing uncontrollably in my tiny bedroom, not caring at all about my 5 flatmates.
Did you really have 5 flatmates?
It was 4.
Oh my God.
But then it was also the era of Gomez. So I was listening to the Gomez album the other day. I saw them live in Italy and they were amazing. Already mentioned that. And I was going, what's that band? They were like the Coldplay. They were like Coldplay before Coldplay was a thing. And then Coldplay like rocked along. And in the same era, I think of James Blunt. I could be getting my decades mixed up here. No, Travis.
Oh, Travis.
Remember Travis?
Yeah, Why Does It Always Rain on Me?
Why does it always rain
you listen to that
me?
album, I'd say 4 times a day for approximately 3 months.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I wonder what Fran Healy's up to now, right? I was like, is Travis still a band? Yes, Travis is still a band. And Travis recently did what would you call it? Like, had guest singer Susanna Hoffs from the Beatles. From the Bangles. The Beatles.
I thought you meant Julianne Hough from
No.
Dancing with the Stars
That's
or
not
whatever
what I
she's
meant.
from.
And I was like, God, talk about oldies but goodies. And then I watched the video.
And I'm getting the impression it was wonderful.
To say that I
From your face.
almost vommed.
Oh.
There's a point where they both go la 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 la, and the amount of tongue sticking out of mouth, and you know me.
This is why you couldn't watch Love Island.
Why?
There's a lot of snogging and close-up and noise, like, because they really turn up the mics when they snog. So there's a lot of like...
I don't mind if you're actually snogging.
No, you wouldn't mind.
No, I love that. I love noisy snogging.
But it's like they're all snogging 6 people per episode.
No, I mean, it was absolutely offensive. And like then the comments were like, I love the bit where they la-la at each other. You can sense the tension. There is no tension to be sensed. It is ridiculous.
That's subjective.
It is gross. I'd like everybody to watch it and report back on how gross
I'd
it
like
is.
to actually go watch it, make a GIF out of that particular moment, and then send it to you at regular intervals throughout the day.
Gross. Anyway, so I've given up watching that video. Okay,
Sorry, how many times did you watch it?
Twice.
Why'd you watch it twice?
So I was like, did I actually see what I think I just saw? I better check again how disgusting it actually was, or am I a prude? And we know I'm not a prude.
So you've quit watching that video.
I've quit watching that video.
Okay, what's the biggest thing that you've ever given up? You never smoked, did you? I mean,
No.
you have smoked a cigarette, but you never
I
smoked.
smoked a cigarette when I was about 9. That's the only
You've
cigarette I
smoked
ever
a cigarette
smoked.
since then. I have
No, I
seen you
haven't.
smoking a cigarette at a party before.
No, you haven't ever seen me smoke a cigarette, Rosemary.
I feel like I have.
You have never, ever, ever seen me smoke a cigarette.
You've never smoked an actual cigarette other than when you were 9. Was that the one Granny gave you?
Yes, Granny gave me a cigarette and said, "Here, smoke this." And I was like,
Were you even were you saying to Granny, "What's that like?"
I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember the horrendous taste of like the smoke in my mouth, and I was so appalled and horrified. Stupid adults.
I think the only other thing that I've ever been like, or considered myself addicted to enough that giving it up felt like a big sacrifice was coffee. And I gave up coffee for about 6 months. I think when I was having like really bad IBS flare-ups, and I was like, I'd be interested to see, because like I used to drink, well, probably even earlier this year, I used to drink about 6 cups of coffee a day, if not more.
Did you also give up Diet Coke? Rosemary, you actually gave up every single piece of nice food for a while
Every
there.
single happiness in my life, every single joy in my life I did.
But you were delighted with life when you did.
I was so smug. But the coffee thing was more because I was like, I wonder if this will make a difference. Like,
but also Diet Coke at the same time. No, were they different times? Because that was like you were convinced that the bubbles in the Coke, which you're probably right, like the gas, whatever it's called.
I gave up Diet Coke first, I think, when I started weightlifting and I did that whole healthy eating thing. And like Neve, my trainer at the time, was very against any form of pap. Any form of like...
But you also gave up Coke. You gave up Diet Coke,
carbonated
I remember,
beverage.
as well, for your IBS as well. So it must have been at a different time. Like you gave up all types of sodas. You were only drinking water.
I think I went to like not a dietitian, but a nutritionist at one point who basically said what they always say, which is like give up sugar, like refined sugar, fizzy drinks, caffeine, dairy, and wheat or yeast, I think. So I gave all those things up for about 2 seconds.
Like, I mean, I know you're doing it for health. I'm doing it so I can lose some weight. I was thinking this morning how boring. I tell you what I've given up multiple times. Like food, not all food.
Hashtag not all food.
Hashtag not all food. But like, the majority of my daily caloric intake has been given up multiple times. I was thinking first time when I was in my teen years, because I was extremely overweight and wanted to be thin. So like, I mean, I wanted to lose weight, felt very out of place.
In hindsight, though, you actually weren't extremely overweight by today's standards.
I was extremely overweight, Rosemary.
Were you?
Those pictures of me, I was extremely overweight.
What did you weigh? Do you remember?
I don't, but like 200 and something pounds. I was very overweight.
I'm 242 pounds right now.
But we have different physiques.
I know,
we just do, right? Anyway, and then after every baby, and then I was like, finally, I'm finished with these diets. And then I was like, then basically the pandemic. So I had another pandemic pile on. I'm like, maybe after this, it'll be the last time. I mean, I was thinking this morning, though, at least I know I can do it. I've done it 5 times. I have to do it one more time. So boring. 6 times. That's 6 times.
Just like Mark Twain and the smoking.
Just like Mark Twain and the smoking. I don't know what you're referring to here.
There's some quote from Mark Twain that he says, like, well, I mean, attributed to Mark Twain, it could be anyone, where he goes, I'm really good at giving up smoking. I've done it several times.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm very good at it. I'm really bored by it. Well, in order to lose weight, actually, no, you know what? I've given up wine multiple times, but not to lose weight. More because I'm like, I really need a break. I need to, wake up refreshed. I need to sleep better. I do think it helps me sleep better not drinking alcohol. However, every single ailment that I have of a morning, if I drink a glass of wine or a couple of glasses of wine or whatever, like the night before, become like I genuinely blamed the wine for. I'd be like, oh, I have a headache. It was that wine. I shouldn't have drunk it. And like, I'd be beating myself up. I shouldn't have done this. Now and I feel tired. Gave it up for like 2 years, whatever, a year and a half. Still had all the exact same thing. Still was tired. Still had headaches. Still, I was like, oh, I was blaming this wine entirely. Poor wine. Come back. All is forgiven. So then I was drinking wine again. Still have all the same problems.
But you did sleep better when you weren't drinking wine.
I mean, yes, I think. But I also think like a lot of it is to do with going to bed on time and having a regular schedule and not being stressed. And,
yeah, okay.
So like it's just one of many things. I mean, certainly like, drinking a bottle of wine, or like going out and staying up late and drinking loads of wine. Cocktails more than anything else, which I don't really like or drink that much. But cocktails with all their sugar in them, I find like they really give you a bad headache, which I mean is probably no surprise to anybody.
Yeah, well, very stimulating, I guess. When I gave up coffee, I remember waiting. I mean, like, look, I've always been a really good sleeper, except in the last couple of months.
You have.
But yeah,
you and mom. What was mom and dad stayed here? Oh, sorry, you go ahead and then I'll tell you.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I literally fall asleep at the drop of a hat. I have fallen asleep on flights from Dublin to Newcastle, which I think last about 25 minutes. I've slept through the whole thing, like from before it takes off to the time it lands.
Well, all jokes aside, so I went to Atlanta this week for work and I came back. Obviously, I came back on a late night flight. I came back on a late night flight, 8. No, it wasn't 8. It was 9:30, right?
It was pretty late.
So landed at 11. 11:30. I think it was actually 10 past. It was earlier than it was supposed to be. Anyway, so I was reading my book. I was doing, on the computer. I was reading a magazine, doing all these things. Then they're like, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our descent. I was like, that's great. That was really quick. It was about an hour, because like it takes, they start the descent, 20, 30 minutes before. So I was like, well, better like close everything up, put it in my bag. I'm like, oh, now just close my eyes for a second. I always do this. No matter what, like transatlantic flights, you name it, I fall asleep when the descent begins.
Because you have to put your devices away.
It is an absolute nightmare. But I also think there's something about the descent. Like there's something about it that like really relaxes me. And I always fall asleep. And it's so head wrecking because like I've been awake and alert and like highly productive for the entire thing. And then I get off the flight and I honestly look like I was dragged through a hedge backwards, beaten around the head. And like, I don't even know what, like just woke up out of a coma. I look exhausted.
But like, do you never think to yourself, I should just sleep, especially if it's late and you're tired and you've had a full on week? Should I just get on the flight and think I'll just sleep for this whole thing?
No, because I'd have like a crick in my neck and all that kind of stuff. Plus I have a lot of shit to do and I'm by myself, right? I'm not with the kids.
Yeah, that's rare.
So I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to read my book. I'm uninterrupted. Although there was a guy sitting beside me.
Was he trying to talk to you?
I mean, it was very bizarre. I was blatantly reading my book. Like I didn't even have a Kindle. And he kept going like, then he would lean over and show me his phone. Look, I just took a picture of the plane over some clouds.
What?
And there was a very interesting ring of light, like a halo.
Was he 12?
No, he was an adult. He was like 50. A halo of light around. And I was like, oh, great. And then he's like, wow, look at this wall of cloud. And I'm like looking up from the book. I'm like, is he actually talking to me? Because I'm definitely reading.
You should have held your book to the side and been like, look at this wall of book.
He did it about 5 times. It was very odd. Not on the way back. This is on the way there of a morning.
Well, this is the advantage of just falling asleep immediately. Nobody ever talks to me because I'm asleep on the flight.
Well, the last time I fell asleep, also my head hung out in the aisle and the air hostess nearly decapitated me. So that put me off.
I don't think I've ever had a crick in my neck. I can fall asleep on a plane, train, car, bus.
Sunlounger.
Sunlounger while supervising children. I haven't done that this year at all.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're welcome. I've really learned and grown. But I'm not sleeping as well now, I think, just because I'm having heartburn and I'm uncomfortable. I need to pee all the time.
I loved Mom's recommendation for heartburn as well, by the way.
Oh, God.
A spoonful of bicarbonate of soda in water. Does she know that's the same? Is that like
that's
her literally?
Tums, that's literally Tums.
No, but that's like the thing she gives us to throw up. Like, that's what she used to say when you had like a nauseous stomach. She'd give you a spoonful of bicarbonate of soda in water and be like, here.
And what was milk of magnesia?
It's what I gave
for?
you. Milk of magnesia is like, I mean, it was to settle your stomach. It was the alkaline to settle your stomach. But I mean, the bicarbonate soda is what I gave you that time you puked on your friend.
Yeah, you gave me Alka-Seltzer. Same thing.
But I'm also like, how is she thinking that this is going to... I mean, yes, you will not have heartburn because you'll be busy puking. You'll be distracted by the puke. So Mom and Dad, when they came over last time, Mom's like, I'm going to give you guys a break. Okay, she's like, I'm going to give you guys a break. I'm going to take the baby into our room tonight and have the baby. This was like 2 years ago. So the baby would have just been like 9 months. Right, it was Christmas. And I was like, oh, thank God, right? Because he didn't sleep through the night and he wasn't, it wasn't like we were all just wrecked. And I was like, thank God. So she takes him, she goes, they all go to sleep. In the middle of the night, I hear the most ferocious crying. It goes on and on and on and on and on and becomes so hysterical that eventually I get out of my bed and go into Mom and Dad's room where, what do I find?
Both of them fast asleep.
Fast asleep. Out like a light. And the baby jumping up and down, screaming, big pink face, like hysterically crying. And the next morning I go, thanks a lot for that. That was great, right? I go, not only did I have to mind the baby, but I had to get out of my room and walk all the way down the corridor and get the baby who would otherwise have been
fine in the room beside me.
Handily adjacent, Oh, didn't hear a thing. Did you, Philip? And then, of course, Mom. You must have come in too soon. You should let him cry it out. Like, you should have let him cry it out. You shouldn't have come in. Like, you can't just jump up every time the baby moves. I was like, the baby was crying for about 45 minutes. 45 minutes. We would 100% have woken up, wouldn't we, Philip? Like, enraging.
Well, remember last year, so like Christmas 2019, was it in November? Anyway, at some stage, Mum and Dad were over and you and Don went to New York. Didn't you, for a weekend or something?
Yeah.
And the same thing, Mum and Dad
work.
were minding the baby.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad were sleeping in the room with the baby and I was sleeping in what was my room at the time and the boys were on their rooms. And similarly, I woke up to the sound of the baby crying. And I was like, what's going on? The baby's crying. So I go in. Now, in their defense, they weren't asleep. They were both wide awake, but Dad was lying on the bed with the covers tucked up like around his nose. Basically, he was trying not to let the baby see that it wasn't Dawn. It's just
What's wrong with them?
I know. I was just like, what are you doing? And Mum was like, oh, we just thought he might go back to sleep. We didn't want to frighten him by letting on that it wasn't his parents.
He's probably terrified. Who are these two strangers
Hiding
who are
under the covers.
refusing to like placate me?
Yeah, and then I just picked him up and like kind of rocked him back to sleep and put him back in the crib and he fell asleep again. And they were like, thanks, love.
Absolutely
Crap.
useless.
Absolutely crap, yeah. But listen, that's obviously what they did with us and we turned out fine. And I'm an excellent sleeper. But sorry, my point was when I gave up coffee, I didn't notice any improvement to my sleep whatsoever.
Oh, none?
No.
I blame mom and dad. I blame mom and dad for modelling behaviour of coffee drinking late at night.
Coffee drinking late at night,
Like literally, it'd be like, it's bedtime now. Do you want a cup of tea or coffee before we go to bed? And I happily can drink coffee and go to
Or
sleep.
you also would go to a restaurant with them for dinner at 7 p.m. You'd finish at 9:30 and they'd have cappuccino and espresso. And what do you want, love? Coffee?
The Italians would turn in their graves.
Would they?
A cappuccino afternoon.
Oh, sorry. But like not the espresso. The espresso would be fine, wouldn't
the
it?
espresso would be fine.
Yeah, but I didn't notice any improvement. Now, when I gave up the Diet Coke, like properly, but that coincided with when I gave up basically all refined carbs, all sugar, including all fruit. I basically survived on a diet of meat and green vegetables, very few root vegetables, very little of anything that wasn't green vegetables and meat or fish. My digestive system has never been as healthy.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, I didn't have any IBS symptoms for about a year. That's probably why I was so smug and happy. But like at the same time, when I gave that up and went back to my normal way of eating, I was like, it wasn't worth it. This chicken tikka masala is delicious.
I was about to say, was it not worth it though, not to have any of those problems?
I don't know. I think about it sometimes and I'm like, maybe it was and is and would be worth it. Because like, I honestly, and I remember like at one point, I think even about kind of 3 weeks in, suddenly going, oh my God, I haven't felt a pain in my stomach. I haven't had like that kind of gassy feeling. I haven't had diarrhea. I haven't had constipation. I haven't had, I was literally just like, I didn't think this was, I thought everybody had these things all the time. Do you know what I mean? That I thought every day or every second day people had like a pain in their tummy or gas or whatever it was. I suddenly was like, oh my God, this is what it's like when it works properly.
And then you were like, it's not worth it.
And I was like, I'd love a naan and some diarrhea.
Oh, gross.
Sorry.
Okay, so what else did I give up? Let's see. Well, most recently I gave up buying printed clothing. As you can see, I'm wearing a fully solid, what is this?
A jumpsuit.
Is this really a jumpsuit? Feels like a bit.
I think they
feels
call
a bit painterly to be.
Or like a onesie, but then I would think onesie always reminds me of babies.
Onesie. Well, anyway, this thing that I'm wearing is an all-over solid black, which is a miracle.
Is it not charcoal?
Whatever.
Irrelevant.
Like it's not.
It's very nice,
solid.
actually.
Thanks. It's solid. Yeah, because I realized, looked in my wardrobe, and I was like, I'm trying to exude professionalism and
Chic.
I mean, you can be chic in printed clothing, right? I go back and forth.
Well,
I'm like,
true.
I want to be, but you keep using the term art teacher, which honestly, I've always appreciated my art teachers, but you make it sound pejorative. And I would definitely like to be perceived in a very calming and authoritative way. And to me, that somehow says solid clothing.
Kind of cool and calm.
Yes.
Whereas I think printed clothing can often make you seem like eccentric and like a little bit unpredictable in a good way. Not you, like everyone.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? You
also
see
think
someone in like a lot of prints and you think, oh, they're artistic and they're creative and they're maybe.
But the other thing I think is that I think there's an expression of self that you're expressing your own personality through the printed clothing. Solid clothing is more of a kind of a veneer, if you know what I mean. It's like this. There's more mystery to who is this person. What do they think? Whereas like with the printed clothing, it's like I'm saying to you, I love color, I love this, I love that. Do you know what I mean?
I just don't know if either of us is ever going to have a veneer of mystery, no matter what we wear.
Excuse me, speak for yourself. Well, anyway, I haven't succeeded all that much because I keep forgetting about it. That's actually the main problem. I mean, I started a diet there a couple of weeks ago, woke up, I literally thought about it all night. I was like, yes, I'm finally in the mood. Because I mean, that's a huge part of it, right? You have to feel...
I'm ready.
Yeah, you have to, even if like nothing changes, you just be like, I'm ready to do this. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to, really commit to this.
Yeah, I'm
woke
motivated.
Up the next morning, immediately had a donut, had something else. At lunch, remembered that I was supposed to be starting my diet today, was raging with myself.
That's like the time that I decided I was giving up all pig products after I started following this pig on Instagram called Esther the Wonder Pig, who's very cute. And I was like, oh my God, I should never eat pig again. Literally the next morning was eating my rasher sandwich when I remembered. Had it in my mouth. I was like, oh, for God's sake.
That's gross.
Well, I still ate the whole thing. Didn't put me off. Like,
well, I mean, you wouldn't want to waste the rasher at that point. That'd be worse.
Streaky rasher. A good streaky rasher, you'd never waste it.
Oh my God, you're really not... Remember, Esther, you've already forgotten Esther again.
I had to unfollow Esther then so that I could truly enjoy my pork products after that.
Oh my God.
No, it's terrible. Esther is very cute.
Oh, well, anyway, yes. So I still feel like I'm still I have to figure out this solid thing. I suppose the other thing is like printed clothes hide a multitude, you know, not of my body, but like of fit, of cut, of all these things that like.
That's true. They are easier
There's so much
to
easier.
wear. Like they're easier to put on your body and not think, oh, like, yeah, often if I try to wear solid stuff, I'm like, oh, you can see my knickers, and then I have to wear special knickers with this thing, and then I have to do this, and I have to wear a different bra. Whereas with prints, I never have to do
I don't mean it quite that much. I more mean like, oh, I don't really like where this shoulder drop is. I don't really like this collar. I don't like the finish on the button as much. Like it has to be much more refined or like well designed to be solid. You know, like you
notice the details.
Yeah, you notice the details, exactly. And
I never do.
Especially since moving to Fort Wayne, I can't try anything on and everything is...
You can try things on now, I think.
No, but I mean, there's nowhere to shop.
Oh, I get you.
There's
nowhere.
Like,
you can go to the fitting rooms in Target now.
Yeah, great.
I get you.
But like, there's nowhere to shop to buy anything nice. So, like, I hate returning things, as everybody already knows. So, like, it's much better to buy things that are going to be, you know, more forgiving and less. It's like, because even if the fit isn't great, I go, well, I can put a belt on it and nobody will notice because like it's the print is half the character of the product.
Even if you hate the button, you're not going to notice it because it's going to be in the busy print.
Exactly. However, I would like to somehow get a grip on this solid clothing because I would like to buy a nice jacket. All recommendations, please. Like a nice blazer that doesn't make me feel like a massive frump. You know, there's like that terrible like throw a blazer over anything, and actually blazers are just like cardigans in that way. They can look massively frumpy if they don't look massively cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I put a blazer over something and I go, oh my god, I look like I don't even know what. I look like such a massive dweeb here.
I just think Pinterest has done us all a disservice and made us think that like throwing a blazer over your shoulders is going to make everything look chic and Parisian, and it does if you are very, very slim, is what I think from Pinterest. Because like a lot of these pictures I see, and then I try on a blazer, and unless it's actually fitted to me and fitted to my shoulders, like even if it's oversized, unless it fits me properly, it just looks really sloppy or something.
Well, that sounds really so strange. What an amazing observation. Unless it fits me properly, it looks bad.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if you're very slim, I feel like you can get away with a blazer that's kind of ill-fitting.
I don't know. I feel like it depends. I mean, how many people are actually Parisian walking down the street looking amazing, right? Like even very thin people wearing if they rocked upon you in your office wearing an oversized blazer that didn't fit, you'd be like, that doesn't really fit her. She looks a bit crap. Because I mean, it's not like they're actually buying them from Chanel. Do you know what I mean? Majority of people are buying them from Target or wherever. That's true. Then the material is not good. So anyway, it's more that I was thinking like this idea of, I think though you're right, that this idea of one blazer fits all. Like blazers are like jeans, you know what I mean?
You have to find the right ones.
Yes, and you kind of need a variety of them in your wardrobe. Anyway, that wasn't the point. I didn't give up buying blazers. I actually bought too many blazers. I bought that oversized.
Bought a lot of blazers.
I bought that oversized pink blazer, which said oversized, and when it arrived was literally the size of a house. I have that picture of it. Like that is so massive.
Is this the one from Zara?
No, I can't remember where I bought it from, but it wasn't from Zara. No, it wasn't Zara. I bought it anyway, and the picture was like, I probably should have read the details, a bit like reading these things that always arrive absolutely tiny, like from eBay. It said oversized blazer, and when I read it, it said she was wearing extra small, and like literally this one was a teeny tiny, you know, stick thin model, and extra small was like the size of a house on her. But I kind of was like, it should be your normal size anyway.
It should be your normal size.
The thing was like, and I mean, oversized kind of, I don't know, should look in some way good. This thing was like the shoulders were out here like LeBron James, you know, ridiculous looking. Anyway, another thing I gave up was, actually, these are probably related. I gave up bitching, and I gave up, like, as in saying negative things just to be funny.
For the sake of it, yeah.
Not even, I don't really think it was never, like, it's not really to be like, oh my God, I hate this person and I want to say really nasty things. It's more like, this is funny. You know, here's a funny comment. And it's kind of sarcastic, or it's, you know, like, I feel like I use sarcasm a lot as a joke, but a lot of people don't actually appreciate it.
True.
You know? So I gave that up. It was short-lived. I also gave up kind of related Jezebel, the website, and the Daily Mail. And I made Don block them on the router.
Did he block Jezebel?
No, I didn't take that one very seriously. I mean, I don't go to that one very often. There's not all that much. And it just felt like it became kind of annoying because I was really only reading it for the comments, and then everybody just fighting all the time. And it's like, it's kind of unenjoyable, you know?
Yeah. I gave up bitching as well at one point for an article. It felt like a year. It was either a week or a month. I think it probably could have been a
A
week.
month is a very long time not to say a
I know.
single negative thing. When was this?
It was when I worked. Was it when I was working at Stellar? I think it was for You magazines. It was when I was freelance at some point.
Is this not a lot? Like, I mean, you get paid for one article, but they're demanding a month of your life or a week of your life for research.
Yeah, it was probably a week. But like, I think for a lot of people, not bitching for a week wouldn't be that hard. Whereas for me, I found it was impossible.
I only know one person for whom it wouldn't be hard.
Abigail.
No, Mom. Haha, Mom. Only joking.
Yeah,
Only
no.
joking. No,
No,
somebody
totally
else.
not Mom. Because it included like being past remarkable. But it was just basically like, I was allowed to say critical things. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if somebody asked, but it was more that I would like, say if somebody walked into the office, I was not to go, oh my God, stay to her wedges.
Oh my God, would you have done that?
Well, when I worked at Stellar, at one stage, we had 3 or 4 interns. And no, so sorry, we had 3 interns who were all quite young and very similar, like blonde, very glamorous. I think they were like from UCD, just like very similar styles and everything. And then this 4th intern started, and she started one day and she arrived in wearing wedges and this really floaty summer dress and had her hair perfectly curled and like big gold tubes, like looked like very, very glam, but also like somebody needs to send her for a walk, like to just show her that she can't wear those wedges to work. Do you know what I mean? They'd be like, run across the liffey there and get them. We didn't actually do that. But like part of it's like,
my God, the poor thing.
what do you think you're doing? Anyway, the next day, didn't they all show up in wedges and summer dresses? All 4 of them. They were like, it was like a little cult. The exact same outfits. But yeah, so I gave up bitch. And you know what the thing is? I was just so bored.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I felt like I had nothing to say, which was
Well,
worrying.
no, I think part of it is, well, you have all these brilliant thoughts in your head that you don't get to share. All these witty little
I don't think
past
my thoughts, I
remarkable
don't think
comments.
any of my bitchy thoughts are witty or brilliant.
Oh.
I think they're just
They're
like
just bitchy.
sending screenshots to my friends going, stay to this. Like sending screenshots to someone and going, did you see such and such brought a ring light to her wedding? Lol. It was that kind of thing that I wasn't allowed
funny.
to do.
That's funny. Were you not allowed to do any of this?
No, I wasn't allowed to do anything bitchy. I was just like, if I had any negative thoughts about someone, you know, especially someone that didn't affect me in my daily life, someone I didn't, you know, I just had to keep it to myself. By the end of the week, I was bursting. I was practically writing things down to say at the end. Like, here are all the things I wanted to give out about during the week.
Oh my God.
And very bad reflection on me.
And so do you have this article?
Oh yeah, I must actually find it. It was in You magazine, but I'm not sure if they put things online at the time.
Not sure they publish it. They were like, this one's.
They
this
totally
one's a
published it, and
demon.
I got my €120.
God, that's a lot. That's a lot of self-restraint for a full week of not bitching.
I know.
So what did you discover about yourself?
I'm massively bitchy and not particularly witty or entertaining with it. I just love to give out about people. And when I can't give out about people, I have nothing to say. I probably spoke less in that entire week than I have in any other week in my life.
You have so much to say. You have an opinion about everything. You have
Yes,
a laugh.
a negative opinion.
Oh.
That's the thing. I felt like I was doing the concerned silence that I never managed actually at school. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I used to do that. God, I used to behave like, I mean, now that, you know, intermittent fasting is a thing and everybody fasts all the time. We all used to act, honestly, all of us like this. Anybody who did the 48-hour fast was like basically, you know, under surveillance to make sure that they wouldn't pass out.
I never even did the 24-hour. I couldn't manage it.
I did the 24-hour, but like everybody was going, well, I mean, what can you? You can have soup, you can have packet soup, you can have water, you can have.
That's not a fast.
That's what I'm saying. It was like fast, you know, in inverted commas, a mild fast.
Do they still do that in Irish secondary schools now? It seems kind of like a weird thing to do with so many like disordered eating and teenagers and stuff.
I mean,
I hope they don't.
I don't know, but it also seems, I don't know. I don't know that I ever actually really fully understood, and maybe this is just me, that it was supposed to be in solidarity with people who were hungry, because I feel like it was more just like the book, what was it called? Like that book marathon?
The readathon.
Yeah.
The MS readathon.
I more just felt like this is what you had to do to get sponsored, you know?
Yeah. And I also feel like people who are genuinely living in areas of the world where they're like so impoverished that they're starving, like imagine if they heard about us like rich, developed world people like voluntarily fasting for 24 hours in solidarity. I think they'd be raging.
I have to say, there is something a little bit tasteless about it, if you pardon
weird,
the pun,
yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, Daily Mail, back to Daily Mail. So I don't even know, do people still, I presume people are still like
Reading the Daily Mail.
But like,
Yeah, the sidebar of shame.
yeah, it was just like, it was something I read all the time. You know, you're saying, but I think you did too, right? Do any more?
I don't read the Daily Mail, and I never really read the Daily Mail, but I'd be like that with like blogger forums. So like blogger forums are my Daily Mail. Tattle.
Do you give it up? Do you ever give it up?
I tried to give it up for approximately 2 hours, and then I was like, life's too short.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, it wasn't like I felt like the Daily Mail was doing me any damage. It was more that I felt like, I was wasting too much time on this. Like, who cares about the stuff that I was reading? You know, like my life was none the...
Yeah.
And then I would go down these rabbit holes of like Susie from, I don't know, Geordie Express. I'm making that up. Like
Geordie Express.
One of these things, right? Right? And I'd be like, I don't know who this is. I obviously don't watch this show. Like, this is making no impact on my life. Like, what's the point, right? So,
Yeah.
so no, but then I couldn't give it up. That's why Don had to block
Just
it. Like,
can't quit you.
I just kept going back to it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like,
But it becomes like a muscle memory, right? You know what I mean? When you open up your computer and you just start typing, you're like, this is the window that I'm used to to going to every morning.
like, and I really missed it because it was more of a like zoner outer, you know. But I also felt like I was feeding into all these things that I really didn't want to be feeding into, like the whole, you know, Britney. Like back in the day, all these really negative things, mainly about women, is also what I noticed. I was
And
like,
women's bodies.
And I was like reveling in it, like, oh, good, she does have cellulite. Like, oh, good, you know. And then it's like, really, like, who even cares? So gave that up, haven't looked back. That's probably been the only thing. I would like to give up reading trash women's magazines. And I by trash, I mean probably nearly all women's magazines. The only good ones are, in my opinion, are not the only good ones. The only good ones that I have read, because I'm sure there are the ones that I haven't read, but like, I really like The Gentlewoman. I think that's a great magazine, right? Because it's actually interesting and just not so much about... I just want to give up those magazines. I still read them. Like Cosmo and Vogue, where half the articles... Like, I want to read some of it and I like looking at, you know, the fashion and the editorials and stuff. But like, I just am sick and tired of all these articles telling us what we need to fix now.
Yeah.
You know,
What we need to do in order to improve.
yes. Did you know that you could be doing this to your face? Did you know that the new Botox is Snowtox? Did you know that, you know,
Should make that
could,
up.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Did you know that you could be freezing this off and that off and the other thing off? Once you've lost enough weight and are fit enough, then you could shave the extra. And like just also the lack of awareness of like the world has changed a lot in the last 2 years. And these magazines do not. Like they have their token, you know, slightly more diverse maybe features, but the topics are, the underlying message is still the same.
Yeah.
You know, like you just need to be thinner, cuter, better looking, younger.
Do more facial massage.
Yeah. Like, and it just annoys me. I'm like, really, is this the only thing we should be doing? Aren't there other things we could be doing that would be like bettering our brains, education?
Yeah. Or that would be
social
more like
involvement, whatever.
I think when the whole self-care thing started to come in, like, aren't there things we could be doing for self-care? And this sounds really snobby, but like that are like reading or learning, or, you know, I feel like there are a lot of things that would be very nourishing to the individual that aren't like have a bath and do a face mask.
Yeah, I do love a face mask, I have to admit. So
so
like
do
I'm
I.
not, you know, I'm not turning against face masks, but actually that's true. I've literally never read an article that talks about the benefits of reading.
And I love a bath, to be fair.
Oh,
Oh my
God, I
God, I
love
just
a bath.
finished Hamlet in the bath last night.
That's because you needed to be in there to absorb all the tears that you
Oh,
cried.
I absolutely did. I didn't even have to wash my face. My eyes did it for me. No,
Bless.
no, I actually had stopped crying at that point. But the last thing I was going to say was I have also given up women's magazines. I used to buy all of them. And I can't actually remember the last time. I think the last one I bought was the Drew Barrymore magazine out of kind of nosiness. And I keep meaning to write a little review of that as well, which we can talk about at a later date. But I stopped buying women's magazines when I stopped working in women's magazines, because every time I opened one up, I would just start thinking, oh, this layout could be done a little bit better, or there's a typo, or if I was writing this, I would, you know what I mean? That it became just like work. And then I think because for so many years I read them as research as well. And then I just was like, no, I'm done with this. And so now I'll read them. Like Mom sends us VIP sometimes from Ireland, and she sends us the Sunday Times Style and like the odd RSVP magazine. But I think that's like when she gets given that for free. She'll sometimes buy VIP, but she considers RSVP the dregs.
Oh, poor mom.
But yeah, I like flick through them. But yeah, I haven't bought one at all in years, I don't think. Anything else you want to?
Do you know what I realised though recently, all jokes aside, like I need to stop clenching my chin of all things. Now that I have Botox and my forehead is frozen again, I seem to hold all my stress in my chin.
Clench it there.
It's like,
I don't think I've ever seen you do that.
I
Do you do it all the time?
I keep catching glimpses of myself, like when I'm on FaceTime or on Zoom or whatever, when I'm listening to people, my chin is all clenched. I'm like, it's very mean-faced, you know? And I'm like, it's also just not like, I'm trying to get all this stress out of my head because I do a lot of teeth grinding.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
do I.
Like, I'm like, how much Botox can I have in this one face?
I mean, you have a few areas to go before you've exhausted it, to be fair. We would love to know what you have given up.
Well, I've got another one. I've got another one.
Oh, I thought we were finished.
Yeah, well, actually, you tell me this one, but
Go
it was
on.
actually really bitchy. I said, I gave up. I'm reading through my notes here now, and I'm realizing actually this is just a bitchy comment. That I said I was giving up Daily Mail, and you said that should have been no problem because your phone is never charged, so you've given up for charging your phone. But that was bitchy, actually.
Yeah, well, you have given up charging your phone. Yesterday or the day before, you FaceTime me, suddenly disappeared.
I forgot.
And then I texted you and said, did your phone die? And only for I saw the message deliver about 2 hours later that I was like, it obviously did.
But I mean,
But you didn't even write back.
That's a stupid thing to say. Like, did your phone... How am I supposed to write back? My phone's obviously dead.
Charge your fucking phone. Do you not charge your phone overnight? That's the biggest
Rosemary,
question in my...
do you think I have any idea where the chargers are? They are constantly being stolen by children and going missing. I am telling you, this is the house, like the odd socks and the wire hangers. There are chargers. They must be like in a parallel dimension.
Where is that wireless charger I gave you? I gave you a wireless charger for this specific reason, because also the children don't know what it is. You could put it next to your bed and just pop your phone in at night.
That's a good point.
Don't even know where it is. Look at you.
No, I'm thinking
Ingrate, never given you another gift.
I'll have to go and find it. But I mean, it's so annoying. I have bought so many chargers and they all vanish.
Well, they all also get broken as well,
also,
don't they?
Also by dawn. I mean, they're also vanished by dawn.
Oh, the bastard.
Anyway, anything else you ever gave up?
Dating, but like for about 2 seconds.
Because you got married.
No, Beatrice. Previously, in previous years when I'd go, I'm going to be single for a while.
Oh.
But that would only ever last about 2 seconds.
Because you can't help it, Rosemary, if men want to date you.
I'm just so desirable.
Yeah. Self-love. I was on Ashley Graham's Instagram this morning. Yeah, we should all be so confident.
Well, that's true. I don't know. What was it?
Don't say anything bitchy. Don't say
No.
anything.
I'm trying
Rosemary,
to think.
control yourself.
I'm trying to think. Was I confident, like, in dating, or I was very determined?
You were very confident. I have heard you tell me that you're such a good dater that you have never not gotten a second date. But I think that's actually not 100% true. But excuse me, what about your man, Game of Thrones? Did he go on a second date with you?
Oh, how dare you! You absolute bitch. He did invite me on a second date.
Oh yes, yeah.
And
Okay.
Revoked it.
Winter's coming.
Thank you all so much for listening to Not Without My Sister. Stop bringing that up now. I've had enough of Game of Thrones guy. We'd like to know what you have successfully managed to give up and whether or not you think the sacrifice of giving up all delicious foods would be worth it if your digestive system worked perfectly. That's what I would like to know.
I mean, I think the answer is yes.
Oh, is it though?
I mean,
a life without toast.
Can you not have toast?
Butter.
Can you not have toast?
No dairy, no wheat.
Can you not even have like these? I mean, it's one thing to like cut them out entirely to go from one extreme to the other. Can you not just have like these things in very tiny? You don't know. You've never tried it.
No, I'm saying I personally cannot.
Oh.
I can't have one slice of toast. I can barely even have 2 slices of toast. I have to have 6.
Oh.
And I can't have like a scraping of butter. I have to have...
There is no point in having a scraping of butter. I agree with that.
Okay,
that's
good.
mom's toast.
Oh God, yeah.
You're like, could you put some more butter on? There's plenty on it.
Listen, I had to re-butter a slice of toast that Brandon brought me in bed. I had to get out of bed and go down and redo it. The one time he's ever brought me breakfast in bed. No wonder he hasn't done it again. I was like, I just remembered I have to get something in the kitchen with this slice of toast in my hand.
Ingrate.
Thank you all so much for listening to Not Without My Sister. You'll get us again next week. And if you would like to sign up to our Patreon for $5 per month, you'll get a bonus episode each and every Friday. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Not Without My Sister is produced by Liam Garrity, sound and original music by Don Kirkland, and our original illustration is by Lindsay Nielsen.
Not Without My Sister is a member of The Warren, the home of great Irish podcasts. As is my podcast, Meet Your Maker. You'll find more great shows at thewarren.ie.